Nigeria decides 2023. As the days draw close to the 2023 general elections, political activities have reached a crescendo, with political parties and their members vying for various offices, both at the state, national, and in some cases even local government levels. Everybody counts in a democratic process, as there will never be a true democracy until every responsible, law-abiding citizen is involved in it, regardless of their gender, religious status, or any other physical challenge. In sync with this fact, Nigerians must realize that voting is a catalyst for positive change. And so on this episode of Nigeria Decides 2023, we'll focus on the marginalized voices. These voices are those of women, of young people, and of people who need special needs. My name, once again, is Suleiman, and I'll be with you shortly. Stay with me.
Yes, I have my PVC, and I am ready to vote. But there is a problem. I'm not sure if I'll go or not. This is my third year, and I haven't been at home. I want to stay at home, but I can't. I came here with my children sometimes. We hardly eat. Even if I want to go and cast my vote, I have to eat before I can go and vote. No land to even farm. We are even not allowed to stay at home. I come here just to beg. Sometimes I don't even get anything. We go to bed with hunger. At times I get 500 naira daily.
Abinda na tunkari wannan zabe shine na tunkari zabe da addu'a.
I am praying for the forthcoming election. My prayer is for God to choose a leader who will like us and not the one we like. Because the issue that we are facing right now is we can't go back to our villages because kidnappers have destroyed our homes and killed our family. I was the only one who escaped. We shouted and screamed for help, but no one came to our rescue. Now I am here begging before I can feed myself. And the people who have been helping us have stopped helping us too. I can't find a place to stay. I can't speak English. I can't do anything, but I will still go out and vote on election day.
This country is in chaos. The poor does not have peace. And even for those traveling out of the country, they are still being threatened. And we are here in our country and cannot even live in peace. We are suffering. We are just hoping and praying for a good leader who will fix this country and not the one that will destroy us further. We are also wishing for the lack of physical naira note scarcity to go, so we can have enough money in circulation. We will go and vote. No one can stop us from voting.
I won't vote because even those who have a valid voter card are also suffering. Just look at the way we are suffering. Everyone is not treated nicely. In a normal democracy, people are supposed to be consulted before any major change on our currency is carried out. But that was not done by the government. I did not register for any voter's card because I don't even have the intention to do so.
I pray for this election to be successful, but I don't have voter's card, reason being that I'm studying in an Islamic school and our teacher doesn't allow us to even go anywhere, talk more of going to register for PVC.
Welcome back. That is a short report of Nigerians who are going to, some sections of Nigerians who are going to vote in this election. But there are those whose duties and whose functions in Nigerian society have gone beyond just voting, and I have some of them with me in the studio today. My special guest with whom I'll be discussing these issues today, on my left, right here, is a woman politician and former Minister of Women Affairs, Hajia Mariam Chiroma. Hajia Mariam, I have interviewed before, and I'm happy to have you on my show once again. You're much welcome. Thank you. Right straight facing me is a Nigerian whom almost everyone knows, and whom I told earlier that when I was young, I used to watch you on TV speak about disabilities and what it means to be excluded from wider Nigerian society. So it's an honor for me personally to have you on my show as well today. We have Dr. Jack Ipele, who is President of the Albino Foundation in Nigeria. You're much welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just by his left is also another long-standing lady who has been advocating for equity in Nigerian society. By equity, we mean equality, or at least equality of opportunities. I have with me Madam Ine Ede, who is an equity advocate, a long-standing one, also development expert. You're much welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. And also with me, of course, is someone who is advocating for youths. And I think even from his NSAS caps, you can see that he really means business today and in this election. I have with me youth advocate Samaila Musa. You're much welcome, sir.
Thank you for it.
Thank you. So we will go straight into discussion because we missed quite a few minutes due to technical glitches, which I want our audience to forgive us for, but we go straight into this. So Hajia, I start with you. We are in a democratic system. Nigerians are going to the polls in just about 4 or 5 days now. But a lot of people are saying that there are voices that we have heard only because we have not had them enough. You know, we've not had young people, no agenda, nothing. Women, what is the agenda for women? You know, people with special needs, what is agenda for them? You know, these people have been heard only in the sense that they have not been heard at all in this election. Some people are saying that. Is it true? And why is it so? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honestly, it is disheartening for us, especially the women, because it's true that the women are not properly carried along. You only need them when you need their votes. But for them to participate in election is a difficult thing for a Nigerian woman. And I always tell people that this country belongs to all of us, and Nigerian women can decide who becomes the president in this country because of their number. But their voices are not heard. When they want to contest for elections in their political parties, they don't get the tickets to contest. So it is really a challenging thing for Nigerian women. But they are dogged, they love their country, they want to participate, they are very loyal to their political parties, they will come out and vote. But I am telling you that Nigerian women are really not given the fair chance in the political space.
But some people will say, if they were not given fair chance, how did you become? You were a minister in a particular government. That's fair chance. Some people will say, how did you rise yourself to become a minister if women don't have chance in Nigerian politics?
It's true. It's our country. It's our right.
Okay.
When you get appointment, when I appointed in an office, they're not doing a favor. It's your country, and if you deserve it, why not?
Interesting.
But what we are saying is that the women are not given the fair chance because we know there are some challenges that women face. And these challenges can be addressed so that they too can participate effectively.
Thank you.
And honestly, in the political parties, we have it in the constitution of the political parties. Like now, I was the Minister for Women Affairs, and we tried to...
Let me try to bring other people into the discussion since we don't have too much time. Haja is saying something very important, that half of the voting population have been marginalized. How is it possible, Madam Ene, to have half of the voting population marginalized?
Yeah, it's possible. Where I'm just coming from the Sandford Party for the country director of Amnesty International, who is a woman, moving to another international organization. And part of what Dr. Amina Sali, who just talked about now, is that everybody around the governance space exploits the vulnerability of women. There are a lot of levels of vulnerability, both visible and invisible. I remember Her Excellency here, I was part of her campaign team.
Interesting.
To campaign, I went to Damaturu to campaign. And what our leader then told me is that when we finish the rally, She told me she won't be able to win this election. I was so upset. I said, I was the one who even took the photograph at that thing. Because there were levels of vulnerability. Some were just angry that, oh, she's capitalizing on the husband's social capital to win the election. Others are saying all manner of things. You see, because the power equation is not the same, they use so many things to make us to fail. She failed in that election not because she was not qualified, not because she was just riding on the Baba's social capital.
Yes.
But she's in her own right, she was qualified, because somebody who become woman leader and become a minister after, it means she has done extremely well, and she represented us well. So we have so many challenges that they make us to fail. They will ask you, okay, why are you not able to bring certain amount of money? The first thing, the woman will be so afraid. Even if you have all the money, you will not want to bring it out to do politics. If they say come and fight, you will not want to fight. If they say go and insult people. Women, what we know how to do is to provide service. And in providing service, what we know how to do well, which is needed in democracy, we bring integrity, we bring details in terms of listening to everybody and making sure that everybody have their say. But most of the time, you notice that this is not what works out. So they want to even use that against us, that we believe in equity, we believe in fair play, that you are being fair, which should be the right thing to do. Why should that be an excuse for making you not to fail? Look at the only presidential candidate in the race now. Recently, she was removed.
You mean the only female?
The only female presidential candidate, and everywhere is quiet.
In fact, that's part of the issues we'll be coming back to, certainly, you know. But women are not the only people who feel marginalized or who are marginalized. Okay, you are marginalized. Okay.
We'll look at it when the discussion
Certainly, I agree. Who are marginalized, you know. It's a wide spectrum of different identities and lots of people with different sense of exclusion within the system. So, Dr. Jack, you've spoken a lot about these issues, but which, beyond women in general, which kinds of people are also marginalized, or what categories of Nigerians are marginalized?
Well, I'll come to that, but let me piggyback on the question you asked her.
Yes.
That being a woman, that she was appointed a minister.
Yes.
What is the percentage of her appointment compared to other women?
To the men.
This is almost 0.0%.
That's
you know. So not just because she's qualified. There are also other women who are qualified.
yes.
Who ought to be given the same opportunity, not on tokenism, but in the fact that they have what it takes, you know, to occupy the position and do well. I, for one, know how my wife manages the home with the little that I give her that I can't even manage myself.
Interesting.
So giving a woman an opportunity to serve, you're not doing her a favor. It's her right. And she rightly deserves that. But let me tell you, the people that are further marginalized, you know, or should I use the word underserved, you know, persons with disability in general, be it persons with albinism or persons who are physically challenged or the blind or the deaf. Every one of us have not been given the chance that we deserve. And that's why we are saying right now, at this moment, give us the space or we will take it.
Okay, I like that last sentence. Give us the the space, or we will take it, because it's a democracy. Taking it through democratic means is entirely legitimate. But we will come to that. So, Malan Samaila Musa, yes. I've been wondering if any Nigerian youth see you on this program now, would they feel represented?
Yeah, they should.
Okay,
they should feel represented. You see, the problem we have a lot of times is that. The youths themselves have been a little bit laid back in the sense that there's this culture of you're still young, you're still young. You're still young until you're 40, you cross 40, they're still telling you you're young. We saw people who became president in their 30s, in their 20s in this country, but when a younger person of today, at the age of 35, approaches them that I want to contest for governor in the state, they tell you it's not your time yet. Even at the age of 40, it's still not your time. And why I said the youths themselves have been a little bit laid back is because, you see, power is not given anywhere. You have to grab it. And this is actually a defining moment. And of course, you see, whether the political party system has actually skewed or is being skewed against the young people, but you see, there's a negotiation table. Because when you check the voter register, the percentage of youth, because for me, the definition of youth ends at 49, not the 20, 35 or 34, they're calling it, is 49. You can actually sit down. You have about close to 60% of the the registered voters as youth. You can negotiate because we cannot all be in the same party. That's absolutely impossible, except if you have a younger people who is actually on a particular, the flag bearer of a particular party, and then perhaps the slogan or the drive was because he is actually...
But our time, because our time is going, maybe we can look at different levels of representation. Is it to have an agenda that supports marginalized voices, or to have themselves in seats of power? For example, is it to have policies that favor women, that favor young people, or that favor people with disabilities, or is it by merely having them? Because this kind of debate is going on in countries like US, UK, and so on, where people say, okay, you want blacks to be represented or women represented. But if they continue to pursue policies that expand and exacerbate inequality, do you have representation? So is it to have policies and government agenda that reflect what will benefit youths, what will benefit women, and what will benefit people with disability? Or is it just to have different people on the political table? Haja?
Yes, I think it's very, very important for us to have, I may call it maybe a law in our constitution, like this guarantee of the 35% affirmative action. This is an international requirement.
Yes.
And Nigeria accepted it. Nigeria adopted it. But up to today, it has not been accepted by our lawmakers. And it is not fair, because if we leave it as, okay, we can go and fight for it, you can fight for it, but the challenges are there, as I said. So we must have it in our laws that says that this percentage must go to women. And if that is accepted, then any political party that refuses to implement it, then that political party is committing something against the law. So I think it is very important for Nigeria to accept that one and include it in our constitution.
So is there any of the political parties or presidential candidates that has spoken to this idea that, okay, I want to include the Beijing conference, the 30%
yes, 35%
affirmative action for women?
Minimum.
Is there any of these parties?
Minimum, that's true.
Yes.
You know, the challenge, just like I just said, is that you talk about which is better, the policy or the physical representation. Both of them are very important. They complement each other. Like in the US now, they have good laws, yet there is still agitation. You can see they crave for female presidency and more women in their parliament. So we are not able, they are still not able to get that. They are struggling for it. So we here that have very weak laws, institutions and processes, we even need it more. She has said something very important about having the law. You know, even when we have the law, sometimes it's not very easy for us, like the VAP Act now, 2015, that Section 23 talks about political violence in terms of exclusion.
Yes.
Exclusion, we're supposed to take the federal, state, local government area, as well as different political parties to court, because it's justiciable, that book. But it's not very easy because of our situation, because of patriarchy. Those who are the judiciary, they see there's a way they still feel, because they are upbringing, they've internalized this exclusion. So it's not very easy for them to sit and not design a case against themselves. So we need all types of strategies to be able to get it. We have the gender policy, yet the implementation is very sluggish. How many years now since Beijing? We are still making very. Look at these statistics here. If you look at this now, the candidates for senatorial, all of them 1,101.
Yes.
Male 109. Then females 92. Young persons 40. Persons with disabilities 5. How are we going to be able to?
Thank you very much for this statistics. It provides us a very quantitative way of going by this discussion. But we will be taking a short break. When we return, we'll continue with our discussion on marginalized voices in the 2023 elections on Trust TV Nigeria Decides 2023 program. Stay with us.
Economy forgot and I got borrow, battery tree foot down, japa left and right, sapa up and down. No need to gamble, say joy. PDP don't come, say joy. Recover Nigeria, say joy. We don't tire to suffer, say joy. Experience mind, say joy. We don't want experiment, say joy. Get them right, say joy. This time our life, oh, say joy. Recover Nigeria, say joy. Atiku na the man, oh, say joy. Atiku Anokowa, say joy. Na the only choice, oh, say joy.
Vote the safe choice to recover Nigeria.
PDP!
Power to the people! Now PDP Presidential Campaign Council sponsor.
Welcome back. This is Nigeria Decides 2023 on Trust TV, and we're discussing voices that have been marginalized or who appear marginalized, although I know that my panelists will not agree when I say appear or feel marginalized and so on. So as we are saying, it's we get to these positions.
Well, I had wanted to add my voice to some of the challenges about while issues are not implemented. And the same thing cuts across board, even in policies, why policies are not implemented. Now, look, the first thing first, policies and laws are good, but they are not the first thing to be done. The first thing to be done is to create awareness for the issue. If you have a very good idea, brilliant idea, and people are not aware of it, and you will go ahead and put it in laws and bills and acts, it would die. So the first thing first is create adequate awareness to debunk ignorance. I'll give you an instance in the issue of persons with albinism. Today is becoming a huge development issue because I never bothered, and there are no laws. I never bothered about the laws that regulate it. I wanted to just debunk the lies, about persons with albinism, about persons with disability. That's how we're able to drive the inclusivity, inclusion in the Electoral Act, Electoral Act 22, Section 54, subsection 1. We created adequate awareness and made the people come to the understanding that these things are needful. Now there's a law, we can then drive the law. So awareness, and the same thing is applicable to God. He gives us awareness first about the things he wants to change, and then he brings either the Quran or the Bible to support it, and it becomes an acceptable norm. So awareness is important. Can you imagine how many, if all the women in Nigeria will stand up like Aja, will stand up like Ene, and they speak for affirmative action, it will be done.
Interesting. So we'll come back to that. But we have voters who will be joining us on the phone as well to also to contribute. You can join this conversation. To make comments, we have our numbers on screen. Just pick your phone and then dial us and tell us your name and what you have to say, either a question or a contribution. You're much welcome. So, Mr. Malim Samaila Musa, all these issues that were been, how do they appear in the 2023 elections specifically? It's fine to say that people are not represented. You have only 92 women, only 2 persons with disability, and only 4 young people. should we say that is the failure of the SAS movement, for example? Because a lot of people were expecting that, you know, that was the first time most people have seen young people galvanized to political action in Nigeria. And they were expecting that, people expected that that would lead to, you know, some extent, some kind of youth agenda or cooperation in the 2023 elections proper. We have not seen something like that. Why?
Yeah, there are quite a number of factors that contributed to that. You see, there's poverty, unemployment, so many other things that the youth are actually, majority of the youth are actually still even in these people who ought to be standing alone are still collecting pocket money from their parents. Okay. You see them in their 30s, no job, where do you send them to? You understand? And that's why the social media became an avenue. As a matter of fact, it has created more jobs, right? But it became an avenue for so much awareness of what is happening, and that's contributed a lot to the NSAS protest. We are having about 3, 4, 5 days to election. Let me just quickly round this.
Please.
To election. It is late to start debating about what role or how do the youth fit into this, why is the number so low or whatever. What is important at this stage is for the youth to look into whatever discussions they are having, because the campaign has moved into canvassers for votes now. I had the privilege of meeting 2 of the running, front runners, and I asked them, what do you have for youths? You understand? One said, oh, 50% of his cabinet is going to be youth. Another person say, oh, minimum 40%.
Which of the front runners?
No, I don't want to mention names because I don't want to sound like
Nigerians need to know because they are contesting for votes of Nigerians.
Including the votes of
Nigerians.
Really?
Okay. I don't want to campaign for any of them, right? But I just wanted to leave it open for whoever is talking to you, for you to stand your ground and know what plan do you have for Nigerian youth. Because there's no way Nigerian youth can take over power or grab power if they are not shifted towards, I mean, I wasn't appointed as a minister, you were never managed anywhere, you were never even a local government chairman, you want to become the president of Nigeria. It's not done anywhere. There is a mentoring process, and that should start now. From when you form your cabinet, then we know you are serious, that really you want the youth of tomorrow to actually take over from you. So that is actually...
Unfortunately, we had Abba from just earlier. We lost him. Do we have him again? Okay, Abba. Jesus Abba calling from Abba. Wow. Please. Okay, Jesus Lover. Well, tell us your real name and then ask your question or make your contribution.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Jesus Lover.
Go ahead, please.
Yes.
What's your real name?
Okay, my name is Ihegaze Chukwu.
Okay, go ahead, please.
My name is Ihegaze Chukwu. So, my real name is Ihegaze Chukwu.
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Chukwu. Can you just go ahead and ask your question?
Okay, thank you. The discussion is very, very good.
To your TV. Can you move
especially now that Nigeria wants to go to the
vote? A little away from your TV station.
Okay.
Your TV is interfering with your phone's network.
What of the most of this disadvantage?
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I've done that.
Go ahead.
Are you
then.
getting me right now? Okay. I want to really know exactly, especially the blind, the lame that have PVC. How are they going to be taken, or how are you, the INEC, how is INEC going to take them?
Thank you.
Are they going to vote in this election? That is my question, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chukwu. And that question goes straight to you, sir. Yes, please.
And that's the reason why I had approached your management to run a TV series on your screen. Okay. For a person who is blind, there are 2 things. Number one, if you can read Braille, there will be a Braille jacket with the voters. What's the name now? The
PVC.
Not the PVC.
Okay.
The
ballot paper.
The ballot paper.
Yes.
Okay. So there is a braille jacket with a ballot paper for the blind. Number one, you are allowed by law to take your aid to the presiding officer, and this time INEC presiding officer, and they will give you the braille ballot paper with a braille jacket. If you can read braille, then you can then vote. But remember that your aide has no right to tell you who to vote for. It is your responsibility and your decision to decide who you will vote for.
But there are more blind people who cannot read braille.
Now, I'm coming there. For the blind who cannot read braille,
yes,
your aide will take you and the ballot paper will be given to you, and your aide can guide you by placing your hand where you want to vote. Now, for the hard in hearing, there are posters with different instruction of how you can vote. So you can then read the instructions and go ahead to vote. Now, also know that all persons with disability has priority voting right. That means they will be first in the line to vote, and where there are clusters of persons with disability all at the same time, a special line will be given to them to vote. If you are a person who is physically challenged and you're not able to reach the voting cubicle, today INEC chairman had given the instruction, in the INEC national briefing, that I actually asked him that question and made that suggestion, and he approved it. That the ballot cubicle will be brought down to where that person is, and the person will cast his vote, and is taken back at the full glare of all the party agents, so that you don't think anybody is snatching the cubicle, and security operatives. So
thank you.
These are some of the...
We have another caller. We'll take this one more and then we'll come back to the studio. Yes, David from Taraba. Please go ahead. Tell us your full name and then ask your question or make your contribution.
Hello?
Hello, David. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, David.
Hello?
Yes,
Good
go
evening.
ahead, David. Okay, we will come back.
Hello?
So far, okay, go ahead, David. Are you still there? Okay, maybe we'll come back to the phone now. We all along we have been talking about youths and women in particular as if they were monolithic in Nigerian politics, but they are just as grouped into various categories as the men. You have northern, southern, APC, PDP, Labour Party, and so on, as well as other differentiations which matter in Nigerian politics, religion, ethnicity, regions, and so on. So to what extent do these things matter in terms of when we want to speak for women or speak for youths, or when we want women's voices or youth voices, or even voices of people with special needs? To what extent do this matter, for this to happen?
Well, for me, I think we should look at our country first. It's not a question of the differences. We need to come together, all of us, and work for this country. And if you begin to bring in these differences, that is what is bringing us down. So my own take on this is that we must look at Nigeria and come together, the people with disability, the young people, the women, everybody. This is our country, and this time around we must come and see how we can solve our problems.
Thank you, Ajay. We have another guest. She was here from River State. You're on.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Tell us your full name and then ask your question or make your
hello, good evening, sir. Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening. You're much welcome, Chigozie. Go
Hello,
ahead.
hello?
Please. Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
I greet all of you there that are lecturing us and answering those good questions there. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
One thing I want to ask, Can you hear me well?
We can hear you very well. All our guests also
me?
can hear you. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
What I'm asking is this. That day of the election, there are things that I used to see at the polling booth. Some men, they will give that bribe that they used to give to people, and they will follow that person actually to that place that person wants to vote. How are we going to prevent that? And how are we going to monitor action against that? Because that thing is very dangerous. If they give you money, they will make you to swear that you must vote that person they want. And they will go directly to that place to follow you to that particular place that you vote. They will picture you, slap you with the phone. How are we going to prevent that, sir? That's the question I want to ask. May God bless us.
Thank you. Dr. Jok wants to answer that.
Let me quickly. It's very good question. Number one, it is now against the law for anyone to go to the cubicle with a telephone.
Yes.
And INEC understood the fact that these people encouraging vote buying, that's the condition by which they give money. So it is, once you do that, you'll be arrested on the spot. You'll be arrested.
So it's a crime.
Yes,
People
it's
need
a
to know
crime
that it's
now.
a crime.
And it's covered by the electoral law. You cannot do it. Okay? And nobody is allowed to follow anybody except persons with disability.
Who
all
need
right?
aids.
Yes. Yeah, who needs aids? Nobody's allowed to follow anybody. So do not allow anybody. And for heaven's sake, why would you sell your vote? It's selling your conscience. It's selling the opportunity for you to know or decide who will rule over this country. Do not do it. 5,000 naira will not offer you anything. You will sell the destiny of yourself and that of this nation.
Thank you, Dr. Zek. As a youth, some of these activities tend to occur more, or involving young people. When it comes to violence, vote trading, and so on, young people tend to be disproportionately affected. What do you say to that?
Yeah, well, I think the sensitization is higher this time around. There's a lot of conscientization going on. INEC also did very well in that regard, since we started all these registrations and all of that. But you see, world over, and I'll give example of America, when Obama was coming in, he was able to harness the power of the youths. And that's what we're calling for. We saw that also in the UK in 2017, the youth quake, that saw the Labour Party denying the Conservative the majority win in 2017. That's the spirit, that's the drive. And I think with the level of conscientization and the internet and all of that, we're moving closer to that everybody begins to realize that, it's high time for us to take over and not to be used for all this nonsense that has been the trade all this while. So
some people already think that we're seeing something like that already in the case of Peter Obi's Labour Party campaign. But before we address that, let me take another caller from Cross River State.
Our female leaders.
Yes, please.
The women who are representing or who are leading the women or representing them at the top are just redundant.
Okay, they are what?
That is it.
Okay, they are redundant. Please,
Exactly.
how can they do better? Go ahead, please.
They are redundant. They are silent. They silent them completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much. What's your name again, please?
How they can do better is that the women who are leading. My name is Nka Najo.
Thank you very much, and thank you for
My
calling.
name is
Very
Nka
important
Najo.
point. So the women, representatives of women, representative of youths, representative of persons with disabilities tend to be silenced by the very powers that they seek to challenge.
Yeah.
Is that true, Madam Ene?
Yeah, when the youth leader, the youth advocate was talking earlier, he talked about processes of mentoring. But if you see that over time, look at the different demographics, different categories of men, women that go into politics. Many of the men, they have the staying power. They are being recycled over and over. So it is easier now because in Nigeria, politics is the money spinner, opportunity spinner. everything you can think of, good, bad, anything, you get it in politics. So the scrambling will continue to be there. And as a result of that, it's so easy to use political platforms. Instead of expanding opportunities for people, they use it to close up opportunities, and they begin to silence voices. Like in my community, a lot of people say, this one, if they say, what is she doing? I say, you are a development person, and you are a development and a corporation strategist. They say, all she just needs to go and insult people on television or radio. You know, so they think that people like us, we don't have a job to do. You know, so it's such a problematic thing. No matter how you try to see how you can amplify the voices of women or persons generally, becomes a problem. Take, for example, if you look at the whole political space, if not you that give spaces to women, it's not very easy to give space like this. So it is so easy, those who are speaking for women and those who are there. Look at all the women contesting. It was only yesterday that Tom, who is the owner of the only women radio in Nigeria.
Women FM.
Yes, she's the only one, the biggest one. There are other smaller ones. Imagine that she didn't know that Honorable Mulikat was contesting. So when I told her, you know, Honorable Mulikat was a house leader, she missed being this by conspiracy.
Yes,
speaker.
Yes.
So the best place for her to be is they look at somebody. You gave Hajj big space.
Thank you.
These two women alone, if they're in the Senate, you know that there will be change. And the voices of women and other persons will be, and they will bring peace. But you see that for so many reasons, media is expensive. They scramble for the space. So the voices are kept. She's right. Okay, I want you to look at Hajiana. Our contemporaries in politics, former ministers, they constitute themselves into different governance structures, strange ones. They get money from they call them, some people, not in bad light, that the boys club, they gather themselves and they bring money. But how many of our contemporaries can bring money? Many of them are there. They are just calm. They don't have voice. So they cannot amplify the voices of other people. That's why we are asking for equity. If we expand the space for people, the better, the merrier.
Okay.
Let me speak to this issue of silencing.
Yes.
You cannot be silenced except you agree to be silent. Okay. That's the truth. Yes. You know, because you see, there's one card that every leader must play, and you will never be silent. Be a person of integrity.
Interesting.
You cannot be silent. You have not been silenced. You have not. And they can never silence you. You know, you have not been silenced. You know, the only thing is sometimes when you agree that you have been silenced, you go into being silenced. You know, the truth remains that if you keep doing what you're doing with your hands clean, he who comes to equity must come with a clean hand. Yes. They can't get you. I have criticized this government, and I'll criticize it the next minute if they do things that I don't like. You know, I mean, you can imagine APC fighting APC. You know, it's appalling.
It's appalling.
Yeah. So the truth remains that if your hands are clean, they can never get you, and they can never silence your voice. But women keep talking, keep shouting, keep fighting. People like me, I am behind you. I'm a he for she. We will fight until we get it.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that raises an important question as well, even though it answers many, as you said. But it raises that particular question that, well, even those who claim to be marginalized, when they get to position of power, they don't tend to act differently from the dominant group, you know, that you say, okay, it's because women, youths, you give them power. You elect a 40-year-old to become a governor or a senator or even president, and he'll behave like the 80-year-old or the 70-year-old and so on. He'll confiscate all the power and all the perks of power around himself, and there will be no radical change generationally. How do you explain that?
Well, I think that's individual stuff, you know. People have different ways. Sometimes they say we don't know your habit until when you get money. If you're poor, we can't really tell who you are until, or just like he was saying, until you get that position, we might not be able to tell what is your real character. You understand? So it's a personal thing. But in the whole is that quite a lot of times what we see in Nigeria is the moment they get into that office, they acquire a new set of friends. You know, the people who can actually tell them the truth, they are no longer wanted around them.
That is true.
So they became friends with those ones who have been behaving that bad behavior in court. They became their friends, and that's what is obtainable everywhere, in every strata. And quite a lot of times, sometimes you even feel, even as a young man, because I've seen positions given to young men, young people in different places, even though it's quite very small. But when you see their behavior, sometimes you're feeling, is it not even better you have these older ones?
Yes.
Because of the behavior sometimes.
The
Even
way
doing
you
business.
behave.
You know, integrity, that word integrity is actually something that is going out of our dictionary as young people of today.
I have to hold you because our time is up, literally. But I will allow 10 seconds to each speaker to just give us final words.
Let me take
10 seconds.
You know,
10 seconds. Yes.
I think your question, it was a bit not generalized.
Okay.
Because it's not everybody that ends up behaving the same way that other people have behaved.
All right.
There are people who are truly, really serious about what they want to do. I haven't changed. I have said to myself, to my family, that nothing can change who I am. I remain who I am. What I am cannot change who I am. I will remain who I am.
Thank you very much. 10 seconds.
You know, I'm laughing because
yes.
you know, the system makes people vulnerable generally. But what I will appeal to all of us to do is that what can we do, looking at these statistics, what can we do to expand it and look at it that the governance liability that this data bring is huge.
Yes.
Let us look at it against 2027 election particularly. What my brother Jake is saying, put somebody in position.
Yes.
If this system continues, you'll be surprised.
I would love to give
I
you
think my own is
just
to
10 seconds.
Yeah,
yes,
is
please.
to still appeal to women, people, the unity. Unity is very, very important. Nigerian women must unite. Forget about political differences, and we must all unite, come together and speak with one voice and fight for our right.
Thank you
That
very
is my
much.
own.
Thank you very much, our guest on the show today. And thank you, viewers, for staying with us through Nigeria Decides 2023 on Trust TV. We'll be here again tomorrow when we bring you another edition of this program. Stay with us, and we'll be there for you as well.